What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JP, and I got an exclusive for y'all today. Today, I'm doing a quick overview on the all-new, just announced today, and just released today, Pixel 3a. And I have to say, I'm really liking this setup. I really am. First off, let's get right down to it. $400. Snapdragon 670, not the 660, the 670, which has the Adreno 615 if I'm not mistaken. 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs internal storage, 5.6-inch OLED display, always on. Same build as the regular Pixel 3s. They say that this is plastic, whereas the regular Pixel 3s were glass. But it's just like a lot of the rumors were saying a couple days leading up to today, that it still felt very premium, and it does. It really does. Fingerprint sensor works amazingly fast. I just set it up. I have it downloading all of my apps right now. Fresh out of the box. Sorry, y'all, my camera's having focusing issues there. But the selling point to this phone is that it has the same 12 megapixel Sony sensor that the Pixel 3s have. For $400. That's the big selling point with this. It's hard for me to really call the Snapdragon 670. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have the raw power that the 845 had, but it's also a newer chipset, and it is aimed at a different type of device. And this is well priced for what you get. You still get, the Snapdragon 670 and the Adreno 615, you still get a lot of, if not most of the bells and whistles that you would get from a Snapdragon 845 and even an 855. It benefits still from 3 times carrier aggregated LTE. To me, this segment is more exciting. This segment has gotten more exciting to me. It really has. I don't know what it is. I get more excited about these more than I do your Snapdragon 855 powered phones. Your Galaxy S10s, your LG G8s. I had an LG G8, and I decided not to do a video on it because there was already so many out there. And if you want my recommendation for the best one, watch the videos that Jay Will posted up about the G8. I agree with almost every single thing he said about that phone. Fantastic phone, in my opinion, better than the Galaxy S10s. The OnePlus 7s. The 7 looks too much like the 6T. And the 7 Pro is going to be priced a lot more than what you would associate OnePlus with. So, I don't know. Honest opinion, the device I'm actually looking forward to the most this summer is the Moto Z4 Play, which is probably, or rumored anyway, to just be called the Moto Z4 because they're going to go back to calling the flagship Moto Z the Moto Z4 Force. But that's unconfirmed right now. And I'm looking forward to that because it's a Snapdragon 675 powered. Which is just above the 670 that the Pixel 3a right here has. It's going to have 6 gigs of RAM, which is more than this, for 4. It's going to have an OLED panel. It's going to be a bigger screen than not only this, but also the Pixel 3a XL, which is 6-inch. The Moto Z4 is going to be 6.4 inches with a very, very small water drop notch. Small as in the essential phone small, or like the Huawei P30s. Almost like a cutout, but in the middle where the water drop would go naturally anyway. But it's going to run stock Android. Again, if I didn't already say it, OLED. It's still going to have the Motomod compatibilities, which I did genuinely like. It was confirmed today that it will be compatible with the 5G Motomod, at least as far as 5G with Verizon goes. You know, that's really the device this summer I'm looking forward to. Like I said, this mid-range segment, man. Snapdragon 670, 675, 710, 730G, which is a mid-range gaming chipset by Qualcomm. That is going to be featured in the Galaxy A80. That's the one that has the rotating camera. Another device I'm looking forward to. As far as flagship top of the line, I'm looking forward to the Honor 20, or the Honor 20 Pro to be more specific. But I mean, other than that, man, I mean, these devices right here, this Pixel 3a, these are what I'm loving right now, man. I mean, you cannot beat the value of these. Most people are buying the Pixels for the camera. The rear camera, to be specific. Because I do realize that the front camera on the A's are missing the wide angle lens that the regular 3s have. But people are buying the Pixels for the rear cameras. They're out of this world. And the 3As have the same Sony 12 megapixel sensor that's found in the the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL that came out last year back in, what was it, September, October, something like that. Overpriced in my opinion. And of course I realize you're buying them for the camera. Despite its competitors like the OnePlus 6T being significantly less, it didn't have the camera that the Pixel had. So I get that totally. I'll probably end up using this phone as my new recorder. I always use phones as my recorders, and like I said, they're unprofessional quick overviews. I don't try to compete with all of these other reviewers. Mine are quick. I get straight to the point. I don't go through everything. That's why I don't call my videos reviews. I just call them quick overviews. Call them trash. Call them what you want. I've gotten more positive feedback than negative, and I appreciate all of my subscribers. Really happy to bring this phone to the channel. I know I'm one of the first. Here in Shreveport, Louisiana, there's only 2 here in town. Got it from Best Buy. And I'm going to put y'all in on a really awesome deal at Best Buy here. I'm not a big Best Buy shopper, but Best Buy has a phenomenal deal right now on the unlocked version of this phone, which is what this is. They only have the black version, at least here in town. But they are offering a $100 e-gift card with the purchase of this phone. So you're essentially getting it for $300 instead of $400, which is already a great deal. $300, man, you're not touching it. You're not touching it. I have the UmiDigi S3 Pro coming in tomorrow, and that's $300. That's not touching this. That's not touching this. I mean, I haven't even gotten it yet and taken it out of the box. And it's a great phone. I've read great videos. It still suffers from the same issues that all of your other UmiDigi devices have, which is very poor camera software, despite having a fantastic camera. The Helio P70 that it's rocking is actually a fantastic chipset. The Helio P60 was great. But yeah, I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to really put this device through its paces. It's great. Here's everything with the box here. Your Team Pixel stickers, SIM removal tool. You got your USB-C to USB-C cable, because their charging brick uses, USB Type-C as well. I remember that from the Nexuses, the Nexus 5, the Nexus 6P, and the 5, I I can't remember that second Nexus 5. It was also built by LG. Someone would help me in the comments. I'm sure it came out at the same time the Nexus 6P came out. I had them both, and they had the similar style with USB-C to USB-C, and the charging brick had, you know, obviously the C port as well. I can't remember if it's even been that long since I've had a Google branded smartphone, because I never had the Pixel 1, 2, or 3. I was just disappointed. I was just disappointed that they kind of left the essence of the Nexus device, and that kind of moved over to the OnePlus and Motorola's, and that was fine. That was fine. And the Pixel 3a, you know, is, you know, it could be argued that it does somewhat, you know, Google does somewhat bring that essence of the Nexus back. But then again, Nexus phones were priced at this price point with the flagship Qualcomm chipset. So, you know, the 670 isn't the flagship. So it's kind of depends how you look at it. As far as quality, definitely the Nexus. Definitely the Nexus, especially with the camera. I mean, nothing's going to come close to this camera at $400. Nothing. That Moto Z4 I was talking about, which will have a 48 megapixel camera, that newer Sony IMX sensor, you know, even that is supposedly coming out at only $400, and the Plays always came out at $500, and that one's gonna come out at $400 less. So I mean, that's and honestly, you know, you know, minus updating, that's gonna beat this and the 3A XL. I mean, it is what it is, and I can't wait to get my hands on that. I'll get that and bring it to the channel as well. Hopefully, I get it day one like I got the Pixel 3a here. But you know, the box, you know, everything else there, the phone, as I said. Show you the bottom there. You know, SIM. You got your SIM right there on the side there. You got your fingerprint sensor. What takes a little getting used to is, I did it again. The power button here is above the volume rocker. A lot of the phones I've been using lately has been the other way around. And I've kind of gotten used to the power button being below the volume rocker, and this is, you know, back above it. So I keep hitting the wrong thing. Don't know if y'all can even see that, but yeah, the phone is ultra thin, man. It feels great in the hands. And honestly, that back, man, I mean, I could tell it's not glass, but it just does not feel like plastic. I mean, it feels almost ceramic. I mean, it's fantastic. And that UMIDIGI S3 Pro I'm getting tomorrow is ceramic. So I'm going to really be able to, you know, kind of put them side by side and get a really nice little feel for both of them. But I mean, this phone feels great. Has your Google G branding, very minimalistic. I like that. It's a very nice touch. I mean, it's not too much. It's just right. Just the right amount of branding. Always on display. 5.6 inches. It is a little bit bigger than the regular Pixel 3, which is 5.5. Whereas the Pixel 3a XL is actually a little bit smaller than the Pixel 3 XL because it doesn't have the notch. It has bezels like this, so it has a 6-inch screen instead of a 6.3-inch screen. So slightly bigger screen with the regular size and a slightly smaller screen with the larger size, basically. But great phone. Great phone. It does feel like a Nexus, honestly. It really does. I love the Snapdragon 670. This is actually my first experience with it. I've used the 660. I knew I was going to get experience with the 675 with either the Redmi Note 7 Pro or the Moto Z4 Play / just Z4, you know, whichever one I got first. Probably the Z4 because I've already had the Redmi Note 7, not the Pro, and since I got this, I don't really have a need for the Pro. And of course, the regular Note 7 Redmi had the Snapdragon 660, very outdated, but still a fantastic chipset. But yeah, it has an Adreno 500 series graphics chip, not a 600 series like the 670 Snapdragon here has. which has, I think, the 615. If it's not the 615, it's definitely an Adreno 600 series chipset, or a graphics chip, I should say. But 4 gigs of RAM, like I said, 64 gigs internal. No expansion, unfortunately, which is another reason why I'm looking forward to the Moto Z4, because it will have expansion. Oh, yeah, and that reminds me. This does have the headphone jack, which I don't think the regular Pixel 3s have. And I was reminded of that because I know that new Moto Z4 will also have the headphone jack, the 3.5 millimeter jack, despite being even thinner than this phone. Not a big deal to me. I don't use wired headsets anyways, but I know it's a big deal to a lot of people, and I understand that. I totally get it. Definitely. I have friends that have collections of wired 3.5 millimeter, headphones. Skull, a Skull Candy, Beats. I mean, you name it. I definitely get it. I understand, definitely. It's just not it's not a deal breaker to me. This also doesn't have wireless charging. Again, I see the convenience in wireless charging. I do use it myself. I do have a wireless charging pad, but I still use wired charging more. It's still a lot faster because wireless charging is still wired. Honestly, I find wireless charging only at the most convenience when it's built into your car. Because when it's built into your car, there's no wires. I mean, there is wires, obviously. Somehow, somewhere, it's tethered to the car's battery at some point, to the wiring harness. But you don't see none of that. I mean, the charging mat is literally built into the car's dash. Whereas at the house, you got your charging mat. You're going to have a wire that's going, from it to the wall, just like you would if you just had your phone plugged in directly. So, I mean, I find wireless charging the most convenient in a car. Of course, my car doesn't have wireless charging, but my next one may, So, and I do have friends that do have cars with them. I mean, I actually missed it. The car that I have, I had got the second to the last year of my generation, and then I think the 2019s, of the car that I have does have wireless charging or whatnot. And of course mine's a 16, the car that I have, but my specific car, which is a Veloster Turbo by Hyundai, there wasn't a 2018 model. So the 16 was 2 years before the 19 because there was no 18. And I think the 19s do have wireless charging, or at least an option. But my next car I was looking more towards a Kia Stinger, which does have the wireless charging, or the Genesis G70. Just to kind of give you an example there. But yeah, here we go, y'all. It is the Google Pixel 3a, and if it was up to me, I would just call it the Pixel A. I don't really like having the 3 in there. Not that I have anything against the 3s. The 3s have just been out for a long time, and this just kind of came out in between the 3 and the 4. It's a newer chipset than the 845. I mean, granted, it's not the 845. I understand that, but it just has a lot going for it. It's more current, if I could say that. It is what it is, though. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Like I said, fantastic phone. I mean, it really is. It has your gestures, your navigation. Another thing that's really great about this too is the Android 10Q beta is already compatible with these. So another plus. And I'm digging it so far. Like I said, I can't wait to really get into it. But hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe. Shoot me some questions in the comments. Peace.